Shalom Akyam. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, who teach and rule well, and Shalom to the sincere Akyam, spreading this truth and sincerity. Shalom. In this video, I want to go into Genesis chapter 15. And what I actually want to go into is a little bit later down, or a little bit more on down in the chapter, where we're gonna find out with an actual account that actually pinpoints towards which seed is considered to be the seed of Abraham. You see, so actually this video is going into an example that we can bring out when we want to bring forth the seed that is considered to be the seed of Abraham. You see, the seed that the Most High is actually dealing with. So this is Genesis chapter 15 verse 1. It says, "After these things the word of the Lord came unto Abraham in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abraham, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Lord Yahweh, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus." So as the Most High was talking to Abraham, Abraham, basically said, I don't have, any posterity yet. I don't have any children yet. Who am I going to, eventually leave an inheritance to? Because that's what happens, generation upon generation. You leave things to the next generation, Verse 3, "And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir." And we know that Abraham has had, multiple children. He has had multiple children, of which, we know that he had Ishmael, he had Isaac, and he had children, by the woman named Keturah. You see, but truth be told, the Most High is actually dealing with only one, particular seed line. One particular seed line that the Heavenly Father is dealing with. And in this chapter, we're going to find out who that actually is referring to. You see? Verse 4, "And behold, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir." Because Abram was like, the only one that I have is actually, basically one of his servants, man, his steward, named Eliezer of Damascus. But the Most High told him, no, he ain't gonna be your heir. You're gonna get an heir out of your own loins, out of your own, seed. And he is gonna be your heir. He is gonna be the one to inherit the things that the Heavenly Father promised unto Abraham. And we know through the scriptures that it's referring to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You see, but you have people out there, such as the people from Islam, they want to say and talk about, this is pertaining to Ishmael. He's now joined unto the Heavenly Father. The Israelites, they transgress so much that the Heavenly Father hates them. This, that, and the third. Which, of course, the Heavenly Father was angry with us, but He did not basically do away with us. You see, that's throughout the Bible. That's written throughout the scriptures, man. You see. So the one that the Heavenly Father is dealing with is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we're going to find out who that seed, is actually referring to, that the Heavenly Father said that He would basically, trickle down the promises onto. Verse 5, it says, "And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be." So the amount of stars, that is in heaven, which that's actually an innumerable multitude or a number that we're not able to comprehend or number. But the Heavenly Father knows. But it's going to be so much. That's basically the point. It's going to be so much that are going to be, the amount of the children of Israel eventually, that are of the seed, that is being referred to, the chosen seed, man. It says, and he said, Lord Yahweh, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, take me an heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took him unto him all these, and divided him in the midst, and laid each piece one against another, but the birds divided he not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abraham drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, an horror of a great darkness fell upon him. And this, is the point that I actually was building up towards verse 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. So the seed that the Heavenly Father was referring to, that shall be the heir, mentioned in verse 4, and an heir is someone that inherits things, and in this case it's the promise, the inheritance, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So shall be out of their own bowels, which that one shall be thine heir. So let me read verse 13 again. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. So, what is this referring to? This is referring to the time wherein the children of Israel were under servitude towards the Egyptians. Let me see if I can find that account quickly. This is Exodus chapter 12 and verse 41. Let me see. Let me start at verse 40. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. And it came to pass that at the end of the 430 years, even the selfsame day it came to pass that all the host of the Lord Yahweh went out from the land of Egypt. So this is already a quick precept, that the children of Israel, were in bondage, for over 400 years, man. So when we go back to Genesis chapter 15, and we're going to read verse 13 again, it says, and he said unto Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, which is slavery or bondage, and they shall afflict them 400 years. So another precept to back that point up, Exodus chapter 1. where we was greatly afflicted, man. This is Exodus chapter 1 verse 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. You see, so the nation of Israel, back in the time of the Exodus, we already, were growing abundantly. We were becoming a great nation. From the time that Joseph, was set up a second, next to Pharaoh, and eventually, his brothers came, and eventually they dwelt there, was taken care of. The children of Israel grew. They became like the nation, that was eventually to be, to be acknowledged, man. Because what does it say here? It says, so that new Pharaoh that didn't know Joseph said this, and he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. So now they was like, hey man, they ain't people that are easily to be controlled no more, because they're gonna become, a bigger nation, more people than us, So they was like, let us deal, in a certain way with them, that we're still able to, have this control over them. Verse 10, Come on, let us deal wisely with them, as they multiply. And it come to pass that, when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies, and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters, to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. You see, so the point of these scriptures is that we was being afflicted. We was being afflicted under the rulership of the Egyptians, man. And this happened for, over 400 years, man. So Genesis 15 and 13, and he said unto Abraham, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. Which that is also something that happened. The Egyptians were destroyed. They were destroyed, and eventually, our people left with substance, man, with spoil, with jewelry and things like that. Let me see. Hey, beautiful, man. This is Romans chapter 9, verse 7. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So this is actually a straight cut, man. A straight cut. Romans 9 and 7 is a straight cut. To whom pertains, the acknowledgement as the seed of Abraham. Because I've had conversations with a colleague, about, but isn't Ishmael also a child, and how can you think about that? It's a sad thing. You have a child, but you don't consider him as your child. I'd be like, well, Abraham had the same thing, but it didn't matter what Abraham's feelings were concerning Ishmael, because it's about what the Most High considered to be, the truth, pertaining to the seed of Abraham. And that is a tough pill to swallow, man, for these Muslim people. Because in their Quran, it is actually Ishmael that was taken to Mount Moriah, and whatnot, or was taken to a mount, to be sacrificed, and that's why they have that slaughter party as a celebration. You know, so it says, verse 8, that is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of the Most High, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed. Yeah, so actually, Ishmael was created after the flesh. He was not promised in that sense. He was not promised in that sense. Of course, he was expected to be there, but he was not the one that the Most High actually foreordained to receive that promise, even though he was the firstborn of Abraham. And that is something that they in the religion of Islam have a lot of trouble with. Verse 9, for this is the word of promise. At this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. Yep, because it would eventually come through Sarah. The woman that was barren for a long time, eventually brought forth Isaac, which Isaac begat Jacob and Esau, and through Jacob we have, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, man, through the 12 patriarchs, that the Heavenly Father set up for us, man. So let me read on. It says, and not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High according to the election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. Like I said, this is actually going into Jacob and Esau. While they had not been born, the Most High already, foreordained certain things that happen in their lives. We know that Esau, turned out, to be the wicked, even though he was firstborn, and according to that quote unquote rule, should have inherited the blessing and the promise, etc. But seeing the Heavenly Father did not ordain it like that, it was given to the younger one, because that's the will of the Heavenly Father. You see? And that's why it says, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High according to the election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. Yeah, so not because you are a good person or this, then the third, that's why you get it. No. It's because it was the Heavenly Father that ordained it, that called it in during that situation. You see? So yeah, basically, that's what I wanted to bring out. Another example, or another precept or an account that could be brought out, during a teaching, to give a little bit of more perspective, to the people that the Heavenly Father is actually dealing with. You see, so with that, I do hope and pray that this video was edifying. And with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and shalom to the sincere Akim spreading this truth and sincerity. Shalom.